Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's case study, where we look at real clients. We change the names, and we look at the strategies and the tools and the software and the process we use to help people build and look after their awesome independent retirements. So this is based on a client we saw this week. And before I get started, just quickly, everything in here is designed to be useful and good general information, but we don't know your circumstances yet. So you shouldn't act on anything you see here without getting advice that's specific to your own circumstances. So the first thing we always do is talk to people about how we're going to put together a real plan, because all the best financial decisions are usually made as part of a real plan. And a plan is quite simply having goals around what's important to you, your life, etc., your retirement goals in particular. Then we come back and look at where you're at now: assets, liabilities, income, expenses, etc. Then we craft the strategies to get you there, put it all together in a plan. But importantly, it's all about getting it done. The reason 80% of people have inferior retirements to what they should have or could have is because they don't get stuff done. They procrastinate and make a few mistakes along the way. Let's dive into our client and our software. So we've got Fred and Wilma, pretty straightforward circumstances. They've got a house they bought a long time ago. It's worth 2.5 million. They just finished paying off the mortgage. Their kids are out of home and doing okay, so they're the proverbial empty nesters. They've got a bit of cash starting to build up. Now they've paid off the mortgage. Superannuation for Wilma, about 180,000, 200,000 for Fred. We looked at the super. The performance has been terrible, really sad. It's costing them money. This was a very prominent industry super fund. I'm not going to say which one, but very important that you review your super regularly to make sure you're continuing to get good returns, not swinging for the fences, but just good returns appropriate to your risk level. In this case, not good. We're definitely going to chop and change that around. They're earning 75,000 each, so not spectacular income, but they've now got, and they're spending about 80 grand a year. So that's their current position. Let's set some goals. We talked about what their life might look like in retirement, and they probably need about 70,000 to pay for regular life. They want about 30,000 a year to pay for that travel, the nice things. So about 100,000 a year. Based on our calculator and our calculations, we say they're going to need about 1.8 million in today's dollars in superannuation, portfolio, and property equity, not counting their personal home. So about 1.8 million, which in 5 years' time, if they kept working for 5 years, $2 million. Now, spoiler alert, they're only on track for 577. When we look at their super, they've been putting about 1,000 a month in each. But with the returns, the best we could assume on this one would be about 4%. The super might grow to about 576,000, and that's not going to give them a great result. Now, they kind of know that to a degree. They've been talking about downsizing. So we played around with some strategies. So same targets, but now we've added some smart strategy, predominantly around super. And let me just clear some of these and we'll walk through. So we're going to up their concessional contributions to 30,000 a year. So very important. We're going to up their risk profile, and we can comfortably be confident we're going to get about 7.5% per annum, and refer to other videos on sort of how we do that. So 7.5% for each of them, 30,000 in for each of them, and we're still going to assume a house downsize. So we're going to assume that these put in about 600,000 in about 4 years when they sell the house. So all of a sudden that gets them up to the number we need. The house downsize, obviously the big one, 1.2 million, but just getting those extra contributions, 189,000, and getting that risk profile right, an extra 100,000 as well. Put it all together, they're on track for just over that 2 million. So how does that work? They get 2 million. That's about the equivalent of 1.8 million in today's dollars. If they draw out 8,333 a month, which is 100,000 a year, this is what their glide path looks like. Super important for all our retired clients and those in the lead up to retirement, that they feel confident that their money's going to last longer than they do. So 100,000 out of 1.8 and still going strong in 33 years. It's going to last about 40 plus years, which is what we like to see for people in their 60s. So a good result, but we got to talking because, Fred in this case, he's tired. He's physical work as a tradie. He's kind of over it. So we looked at, they talked about what if we downsize sooner. So we crunched some numbers, and in broader talk, we also found out that Wilma's likely to inherit not a huge amount, but somewhere around 250,000 a day. So we put 250,000 inheritance out in about 10 years from now. And her parents are in their 80s. They're not very well. So I'm not being morbid about this. But if you know you're going to inherit, you can't unthink it. So you're much better off to plan for it without relying on it completely. So then we say, well, if they downsize now and let's say they've freed up 1.2, 1.3 million, add it to their existing super, the whole process is probably going to take a year while they work out where they want to live, how they downsize. So boost the super a little bit as well. They're probably going to get to about 1.6 in super, including the downsize, 100,000, 8,300 a month, add the inheritance in 10 years, and same thing. In their late 90s, they've still got money, and not to mention a house, not to mention government pension, which we don't allow for on this calculator. We do on other calculators, but once a couple slips under $1 million of nest egg assets outside their home, they'll start to get some pension. That will normally extend this out another 10 years or so. So they ended up super excited. They've gone away to start looking and start thinking about where they're going to live. He knows he can retire now in the next year. He was absolutely stoked. By the way, in that industry super fund, they've been paying for insurances that they probably don't need anymore. The savings there was going to be about $8,000 to $10,000 a year. So that well and truly pays for any advice plus other stuff they're getting, and puts them on track for an awesome retirement. So hope that's useful. If you'd like some help with your stuff, putting together a plan, but also just a preliminary, we offer a free wealth potential strategy session. So we can have these conversations with you, work out what you're on track for, and then help you with smart strategies and getting all the stuff done. Hopefully that's helpful. Till we talk next time, Rob McGregor signing out.